Hello everyone, my name is Andrea Antúnez and I'll be narrating this video with Andrea Castro. Today, we'll be sharing with you guys a quick explanation regarding race and racism. Now, I'll start by answering the following question. What is race? Race is the idea that the human species is divided into distinct groups on the basis of inherited physical and behavioral differences. The use of the term race is an attempt to categorize people primarily by their physical differences. In the United States, for example, the term generally refers to a group of people who differ in some visible physical traits, such as skin color, hair texture, facial features, and eye formation. Such distinctive features are associated with large populations that originally came from geographically separate areas. These populations have been designated as races, for example, the African race, the European race, and the Asian race. However, DNA analysis in the 20th century has proved that all humans have much more in common genetically than they have differences, reaching the conclusion that the genetic difference between any two humans is less than 1%. The idea of race that is used today first evolved in the late 17th century after the beginning of European exploration and colonization. They introduced and spread the idea that there were different human types that could be ranked, some being superior to others. Eventually, this belief would evolve into what we now know as racism.
Dr. Martin Luther King once said that we are not only responsible for what we say, but also for what we don't. We have to take into consideration the social and historical perspective to achieve a more poignant and useful definition of what racism is. Paula Rothenberg, author, educator, and social justice activist, says that racism involves the subordination of people of color by white people. History provides us with a long record of white people holding power and privilege over people of color to subordinate them, not the reverse. We can sector our racism into important different parts, like white privilege, which is a set of inherent advantages that are enjoyed by white people, the passive racism beliefs, which are attitudes that contribute to the maintenance of racism without openly advocating violence or oppression. We have internalized domination, which is when members of the Asian group, whites, accept their group's socially superior status as normal and deserved. Historian Carol Anderson argues that if we want to end racism, we need to stop forgiving racists. However, there is one important point that Ms. Anderson does not address. How can we hope to end racism if we can't even agree on what racism is and who is racist? For those of us who know a little bit about race and that stuff, we can look at Trump's words and actions and easily declare them to be racist, but we have largely not been effective in explaining why. When Trump makes comments about the low IQ of Maxine Waters and mocks the intelligence of LeBron James, he is making explicit overtures up to one of the oldest and most racist stereotypes about African Americans having low intelligence. Personally, I'd say racism is like climate change or like a pandemic. It will eventually kill all of us if we don't end it. Ending racism is both our individual and collective task. In his ideas of challenging Eurocentrism, Franz Boas argues that culture is not something absolute. No single group should be considered the jewel in the crown. At an individual level, overcoming racist perspectives and stopping racist behaviors start with changing our worldview. We should blur the concept of self and others and simply treat everyone equally. At organizational and community levels, we should oppose contemporary popular ideologies of scientific racism. For example, admission officers at school should not discriminate against people based on their race or color. Last but not least, governments around the world should work toward diminishing structural inequalities created by racist social hierarchies. George Floyd's death spurred a worldwide movement to overcome the pandemic of racism, and his death must not be in vain. In conclusion, all of us should deconstruct our old normal of white supremacy and move toward a belief in racial equality. This means sincerely seeing every person as having equal respect and dignity.